Okay, so I have my NBA sketch here. The purpose of my sketch was to determine who the Orlando Magic should get because they need a player who has that secret sauce. They need a star player, somebody who can just, no matter what the situation, give as much as they can to the team. So let's take a look at the stats I chose. I chose average assists per game. If you don't know what an assist is, it's when you pass the ball to somebody and they score. So you created a scoring opportunity, and that's a good thing. Then you have a field goal percentage. So when you do take a shot for yourself, how often does it go in? What's the percentage of that? And then the third stat I used was points per game. So out of the entire season, how many points per game do you generate on average? So let's take a look at these little groups. You see these interesting little clusters here. We have two interesting little clusters, 4 in this one and then 6 in this one. And then we have these little islands of Blake Griffin and Chris Paul, and we'll talk about that. Let's take a look at James Harden, LeBron James, Steph Curry, and Russell Westbrook right now. Let's take a look at Westbrook first. He generates a decent amount of points per game. That's nice. He generates a huge scoring opportunity for other players. So he has a second highest assists per game out of all the MVPs. However, when he takes shots, he doesn't really make them as much as the rest. Now he has almost a 45% accuracy, which in the NBA is amazing. But I mean, it still, if you want an MVP, you want an MVP. So Westbrook, you're out. Let's take a look at Harden, who actually used to play on the same team as Westbrook as his backup. Harden has very similar stats. He doesn't create as many scoring opportunities and doesn't make as many shots. So you can almost see that he may try to take more shots for himself and miss compared to the other players in this roster. So he does create a lot of points, about the same as Westbrook, but we don't need a whole lot of missed shots on our team. We got enough of those already. So Harden, you're out. And let's take a look at LeBron James and Steph Curry. Now, what I'm going to do is, since their names are sort of jumbled up, I allowed this window to be resizable. And there we go. We can see the names a little bit more clearly now. The frame rate drops, by the way. I noticed that in processing. I don't know how to make that frame rate not just stink so bad, but whatever. So there's LeBron James and Steph Curry. They're very similar, within a quarter of average assists per game. The same. The only thing that LeBron James edges Curry out on is the accuracy. So LeBron James is like a fraction of a percentage more accurate than Steph Curry. But then again, Steph Curry is a fraction better at giving the ball to other players so they can score, so creating scoring opportunities. So either one of these two players, depending on how you see it, would be the best choice. All right, so let's skip over for a second and analyze Chris Paul and Blake Griffin. They're out on their own little islands. No other MVP around them that does what they do. So let's take a look at what Chris Paul does. He doesn't score a whole lot. He just blows everyone out of the water as far as assists, averaging like 10.2 assists per game, which is insane. And the beauty is that his teammate, before we do that, he actually has a great field goal percentage, about the same as LeBron James and Steph Curry. So when he does take a shot, although he doesn't score a whole lot, he makes them. So let's take a look at Blake Griffin, who's actually Chris Paul's teammate. And it's beautiful because Chris Paul, he passes the ball. Who does he pass the ball to the most? Blake Griffin. And what does Blake Griffin do? He scores. Blake Griffin actually hangs out around the paint most of the time, although he can shoot three-pointers. But he's got these short-range shots that have a very high accuracy, and he scores a lot because Chris Paul is one of the best passers in the game. So if you want a superstar, one player to carry the team, you want Steph Curry or LeBron James. But if you want two players out of the MVP to make your team the best, well, obviously you want the guy who passes the ball the most, and you want the guy that can score the most and create scoring opportunities. So Blake Griffin's a wonderful opportunity there. And then this little group of guys over here, you have Pau Gasol, Tim Duncan, Kawhi Leonard, Anthony Davis. I forget Aldridge's first name, but they don't pass the ball a whole lot, although they score quite a bit. And Anthony Davis has the highest shot accuracy out of the NBA MVP lineup. He doesn't pass the ball a whole lot, and so he's just a big man that sort of sits near the paint. So we don't want him. Tim Duncan doesn't score enough lately, although he has a crazy accuracy. Same with Kawhi Leonard. And Klay Thompson is actually Steph Curry's teammate, who is a shooting guard. So Steph Curry, when he can't shoot or make a shot, he tries to get the ball over to Klay Thompson, who ends up just shooting it right then and there. The minute he touches the ball, he's ready to shoot it, and he doesn't necessarily pass it a whole heck of a lot, but he doesn't need to because he's got over a 45% accuracy. Okay, so out of all that data analysis, we determined that LeBron James and Steph Curry should be the Orlando Magic's pick, one of them, to be on their team. And obviously that's going to happen because that's never going to happen, actually.